Alrighty, brothers, welcome back to the Como Reacts YouTube channel, where today we're watching the deadliest foods in the world. This video was sent in by Stump. We were gonna do a different video, but this one's gonna take a little bit shorter. The other one was almost 30 minutes, and that would keep it'd probably be almost an hour vid. So we're gonna do this today. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, so this video was sent in by Stump. It is the deadliest foods in excuse me, deadliest foods in the world. Let's get into it.
Let's start with the dangerous and slowly work our way towards the deadliest ones on the list. Number 5. Casu marzu. Casu marzu translates to rotten cheese in Sardinian, and
Doesn't Sardinian come from Sardinia and Italy? Am I correct on that? I don't know.
is known as the most dangerous cheese in the world. This is a cheese that is traditionally made using sheep's milk and is commonly produced on the island of Sardinia, Italy. Even
Looky there.
though it's illegal to sell, the high demand for this delicacy incentivizes local farmers.
How is this a delicacy? That's one thing that I want to figure out. How do you consider this a delicacy? Like, huh? If it has sardines in it, how is it a delicacy? Oh, I want some fish cheese. I want some cheese that smells like pussy. I don't know.
To keep producing it, creating a massive black market that is estimated to bring in around 2.5 million pounds, or around $3 million annually.
We got guns.
No,
We
thank you.
got drugs.
No.
Fresh kidneys.
Wow.
Oh, and we have cheese.
Bro, out of all three of those, I think I would take the drugs. Just being honest.
Yeah. I'll just go with the cheese. The reason this cheese is so dangerous is simply because of the way that it is made, which first starts with the wheel of pecorino cheese. It is then introduced to cheese flies, where they will begin to lay their eggs inside.
Do you think when these flies fly around, they're like, the sound they make is cheese? Cheese. I don't know.
It. And in a matter of hours to a few days, these eggs become larvae. And around the 40th day, the cheese is completely infested with flies and thousands of maggots. For the
Then why don't they call it MAGA cheese? You know, MAGA cheese. I don't know.
next 2 to 3 months, the maggots are left to gorge themselves with the cheese so they can, well, poop it back out. And that's the
Let's call it MAGA cheese poop.
magical ingredient here, since the poop gives the cheese its sought after flavor and texture. And
We're liking cheese with poop in it. Okay.
honestly, the texture does look amazing. I'll give them that. But when it's time to consume the rotten cheese, expect to get around a dozen maggots with every single bite, since they are never removed. Scientists and health officials have warned that there's always a possibility that the larvae could survive a person's stomach acid and make their way into the intestine.
Well, we do have natural bacteria that are considered larvae that live in your stomach. So, yeah, it's possible. How likely is it, though? That's the question.
A condition called pseudomyiasis, where the person's intestines become completely infested with maggots. Survivomyiasis,
Bro said this wrong. It's pseudo myiasis.
where the person's intestines become completely infested with maggots, surviving by consuming the person instead, successfully pulling off the sneakiest Uno reverse card. Even though this condition is rare, I don't think I would be willing to risk it all for a taste of this deliciously textured cheese. Well, maybe just one bite.
And then he dies. Womp womp. No, I'm kidding.
Number 4. Larb. Larb is a type of salad that
Larb.
consists of greens, spices, sticky rice, and a choice of meat.
Bro, sticky rice is actually really, really good. I love rice, but sticky rice,
This dish originated in South Asia in Laos and is a very popular dish there, even becoming its national dish. At first glance, this would definitely be something I would consider ordering while on vacation, if I ever took any.
Who fucking asked? Nobody.
Now here's the thing, even though this dish looks delicious, it can quickly become deadly, since this meal is oftentimes served with raw meat.
I mean, so is sushi. And Um, Sushi's fine. It's served with raw fish, and fish are bottom feeders. So what's the point of that? Okay, cool. Served with raw meat. Congratulations, I have raw meat. Yeah, never mind.
There are many types of meat that can be used for this dish, but the most common ones include beef, chicken, duck, fish, and pork. And eating this meal uncooked drastically increases the odds of you contracting a dangerous and potentially fatal disease, from trichinosis, fatal bacterias, rabies, Streptococcus suis, which is a deadly bacteria that is commonly found in pigs, and Southeast Asia.
Streptococcus is actually very. It's like something that's actually around in America too with bacon a lot of the times because it's a pig thing. So Streptococcus is actually pretty popular. I mean, if a disease can be popular.
Asian liver fluke, a parasitical flatworm found in uncooked fish, which once consumed, the worm can live inside the human liver for many years, where you can rest easy knowing that you'll never truly be alone. There have been many cases throughout the years where this meal has directly led to human fatalities, like in 2019 in Thailand, where a total of 265 people contracted Streptococcus
Maybe Thailand just has dirty pigs. That's not what I meant, but okay.
suis after consuming larb, and sadly, 23 of those people would end up losing their lives.
Womp womp.
Number 3, Sanakji. In Korea, Sanakji could be enjoyed multiple different ways.
Okay, I think Sanakchi is octopus legs, if I remember correctly. Sanakchi is where they cut up all the legs, and the legs still move while you eat it, if I'm correct. Let's see.
But let's cover the least deadly one first and the most common. Sannakji is a raw dish consisting of the long arm octopus, which is killed just moments before it's to be served. Here, the octopus's body and legs are chopped into pieces and drizzled with sesame oil. And by the time this makes it onto your plate, the legs will still be moving.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you?
As you begin to eat, the octopus's suckers will begin to suction onto your tongue and throat, making it difficult.
Pause. Why do you want it to suction onto your throat? And it makes it difficult to swallow. Okay, bro. This dude's making some jokes in here on purpose, bro.
To swallow. But I know that if I ever came face to face with this meal, I would have no choice but to totally crush it. Since I have talked way too much of a big game, watching people struggle as they eat disgusting foods on the challenge. No, I'm telling you just have to plug your nose and just power through it.
Bro, I love eating really weird foods. Like, I love eating sushi, which I know isn't like super weird, but it's only really become popularized in the United States over like the last 15 years. Like, it didn't used to be very popular. I mean, it was like you could go to an Asian like steakhouse or something and get it, but it wasn't super popular. Now, like, everywhere has it. I mean, you can buy it at literally Walmart. So, but sushi is so good. And so is like, if you ever had bison tongue is delicious. It's like, it's a really weird texture, but if it's cooked, it's pretty good. I don't know.
Sure, honey. Sure.
Oh my god, just chase it with the water. He's wasting so much time.
Yeah.
So I have a lot to prove. Now, the second method, on the other hand, is much more challenging and poses a much greater risk of death. And honestly, it's more of a one-on-one fight rather than an actual meal. Here, the octopus reaches your plate fully intact and alive, where it is then tightly wrapped around a chopstick, dipped in sesame oil, and shoved into your mouth. But who are they kidding? The sesame oil is not meant to enhance the meal. It is simply used to rig the fight in the cheating human's favor, as it will now serve as a lubricant. And as soon
Now we're lubing octopus. That's a very weird sentence because there's also. I'm just going to stop there. I'm going to stop there.
as the 1v1 starts, the octopus begins to attack, squirming to find its way out, frantically suctioning on to whatever it can get a hold.
You know what else squirms in your mouth? Yeah. Yes, indeed. Exactly what you're thinking.
hold of. But if you're the human, you must completely focus on your chewing. Soon your hands begin to get sweaty, and within seconds, you begin to break out into a mental panic, questioning yourself, thinking that this might have been a mistake. With your heart beginning to race, you try and cover up your fear by chewing harder and faster. And you have now convinced yourself that it's now or never. It's time to attempt the swallow. But there's a problem.
Why did he say it like that? It's time. Here, hold up. It's time
To attempt the swallow. Why do you say it like that?
Why do you have to make it gay?
The octopus is still moving. The stares of everyone at the table are piercing, and you feel the ever-growing peer pressure accumulating, so you're forced to go for it. Praying to whatever god is listening that the octopus doesn't
Well, pray to the octopus god, duh.
latch itself onto your throat as you try and swallow it, as that would surely be a death sentence. You force the ball of squirming octopus down your throat, and for a second, your heart stops. But you manage to swallow it. With your heart still racing,
You know what this sounds like? You managed to swallow it? You know what I'm thinking.
and a bead of sweat coming down the back of your neck, you look over at your buddy and say, it's not so bad. You got it. As you get up to go clean yourself up in the bathroom. There have been multiple deaths in the last few years directly linked to eating live octopus. Even though the danger is obvious, people still search out this delicacy, with some athletes even claiming that this meal increases a person's endurance.
Bro, what is this drawing? Why does this guy have one wimpy arm and one ginormous arm? What's the point of that?
But others simply do it for the experience that they will get when they show off the post online. Number 2, fugu. This is one of the deadliest foods in the world, where a single mistake in the preparation could mean life or death. Fugu is a popular dish that originated in Japan in the early 20th century, but as time has gone on, the dish's popularity has only grown, spreading to many countries like China and South Korea. This is a meal that consists of a poisonous pufferfish that has had the poison carefully removed from it. Well, at least that's what should be done, but more on that later. In countries like Japan, a chef must go through long and rigorous training to learn how to properly remove the poison from the meat. The training takes up to 3 years to complete, followed by a string of exams which include a written test, fish identification test, a practical test.
That just looks wrong. Like, could you have chosen a different animation to use?
And of course, successfully preparing the dish. This test is so difficult that only 35% of all applicants end up passing it and acquiring the license. The reason the pufferfish is so dangerous is because it contains a poison called tetrodotoxin, which is one of
50 likes on the vid and I'll go through this training.
the world's most deadliest poisons. A single pufferfish has enough poison to kill 30 adult humans. Now, here's the terrifying part. If someone happens to be so unlucky that they end up consuming even a small amount of the poison, they will be presented with a prayer and a splash of holy water, since there is no known antidote. The poison kicks in shortly after eating it, with your muscles becoming completely paralyzed, and eventually it could cause you to stop breathing. And this is probably when you will start to think to yourself, damn, I should have just gone with the chicken dumplings.
Bro, chicken dumplings are fire though. Dumplings are so good. I love dumplings.
The deadliest year ever recorded was in 1958, when 176 people lost their lives to this food alone. Today in Japan, the odds of you dying from fugu are very, very slim, as long as you order from a licensed restaurant, since most deaths in recent history have come from people who attempted to prepare the dish at home. But sometimes pure evil and selfishness increase the death rate even higher. Like in 2004, when fish vendors in Thailand tricked people for 3 years by dyeing the pufferfish meat red and telling buyers that the meat they were selling was salmon, leading to 115 people needing to be hospitalized, and 15 of them sadly losing their lives. Number 1. Wild and exotic wet markets. Now,
Wet markets? What are wet markets? Is it where you go when you're horny? I'm gonna go to this wet market because I'm horny as fuck. Wait, no.
of course, this had to be number one on the list, since a single meal from one of these wet markets carries the greatest risk to human health. This is one of the rare instances where a single meal consumed by an individual doesn't just affect the person eating it, it could potentially affect every person on the planet. Now, I know what you're thinking. What could possibly be so delicious that it's worth putting the entire world's population in jeopardy? Brownies. The answer is brownies.
You know, for how much I don't like his animations, this is a W. Brownies are worth putting the population, especially the gooey, like fresh from the oven brownies. Yes, please.
But as far
Die, people. I want my brownies.
as wet markets go, yeah, I don't think snakes, turtles, dogs, cats, bats, my nephew, porcupines, or raccoons would be a justifiable answer. And it seems like every few years, without fail, the world gets a massive scare when a deadly disease breaks out. And of course, they always seem to be traced back to one of these wet markets.
I wonder if COVID's traced back to one. I mean, I know they say it was made in a lab in China and whatever, but I actually wonder if it was traced back to one of these. I'm curious.
Remember the SARS outbreak of 2000?
Yeah, SARS for sure is SARS is a pathogen, and it's an evolving pathogen because COVID is actually part of a SARS virus. So, yeah.
And two? Me neither. But it's widely believed by epidemiologists and public health officials that this outbreak originated from a wet market in the Guangdong province of
Guangdong.
China. What about the Ebola outbreak of 2014? Remember how terrified everyone was to even let out a cough, as you would forever be known as the person with Ebola. The origins of the 2014 Ebola outbreak was traced to a small child whose family regularly hunted and consumed the bats. Sure, this wasn't a wet market, but it easily could have been. And last but not least, as we all know, the recent pandemic we just had is widely believed to have originated in China from a bat in the Wuhan wet market. These are just a few of the diseases that have caused a massive scare.
I thought they said that it originated in a lab due to genetic testing. Okay.
In recent times. But here are some other diseases that are known to be.
Let's go over these. Leprosy. Yep. Lyme disease. Yep, that comes from ticks. Microspondylidiosis. Don't know what that is. Middle East respiratory syndrome. That's very, very popular and heavy right now in the Middle East. It's basically where you have lung issues. Rabies, that's animals. Leishmaniasis is animals. Japanese encephalitis, that's HIV. I don't think HIV is animals, but okay.
Present in these wild and exotic wet markets. The reason these wet markets pose such a hazard to humans is largely on the fact that almost all the meat will be cross-contaminated by the time it's sold, since being sanitary is not really of the utmost importance. This, included with the close proximity of wild animals, makes it easy for diseases from animals to infect humans. And the hot and humid conditions in a lot of these markets make it a perfect place for the growth of bacteria and spread of disease. Or possibly something even worse.
Alright. That was an interesting one. You know, his stick figures really just pissed me off. Like, they look like demented children. So yeah, that made me mad. It feels like he's making fun of. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, if you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and click that subscribe button to stay tuned for more of these. We're pumping out one of these a day, bro. They're great. I have a great time doing them. And your suggestions are absolutely awesome, guys in the Discord. So I appreciate it. But yeah, great video. Anyway. Later, dudes.